And we're back. Now we're going to start on the Saturday. So we started off, we grabbed some breakfast.
We did. Well, actually, first thing we did was we talked about in the last episode watching Double LNN, and we actually got to talk to the guys.
Yeah.
That morning, which was one of the reasons we had to wake up so early.
That's right. Yeah.
Which we were flagging, but it was worth it in the end because it was great to speak to those guys and kind of
such cool guys.
Pick their brains a bit over the album and just get to know them a bit. And then after that, we grabbed some breakfast. Breakfast. Christ.
It's because I fucked up the word Hierophant earlier, isn't it?
No, I think it's just my brain just struggling to speak.
You know, we all dreamt of swimming pools last night.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so weird. Yeah.
I think we're going to dream about frogs having sex tonight.
And High Rise.
Yeah, in High Rise, yeah.
I forced the guys to watch High Rise, and we're still, like, processing it, I think.
Do you know what the weird thing is, though, about that? I'm still thinking about it.
I know.
Which is a mark of a film that's made an impression.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to make of it now, and I'm just thinking, fuck. Kind of makes me want to read the book and think, like, it was an odd film. For me, anyway, for my simple brain.
No, it is a really fucked up, weird film. It's not a film that you get the first time you watch it. I watched it for the second time, and I still don't get it fully, which is rare, I think. Anyway, Saturday of Hellfest. So yeah, we talked to LONN, really cool guys. I really loved how they were talking about the way they made the samples for Unmaker.
Yes.
Because the guy's dad is like a metalsmith, and they were like going to his workshop and sampling all the machinery sounds, and that really like elevated the music for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so cool. I mean, just they've got such a great soundscape aspect to their music, and everything they were saying about how they achieved that sound just totally made sense when they explained it.
It's so cool. I love how many different kinds of music you hear at Hellfest.
Yeah, it's a very varied festival. Like when you actually look at that lineup in full, like on like the main lineup page or the poster, like you're just like, fuck me, like they really have covered every single base.
It's amazing.
Of like any form of like aggressive or even passionate live music. Like literally everything was there. Really. Yeah,
it was so cool. I think I grabbed a falafel that morning. And then we walked after talking to LNN, and we walked around. We saw part of Hierophant's set.
We did.
Really cool. They told us they make all of their own stage gear.
Yeah, and the stage gear was fantastic. Like they've kind of got a bit of an Imperial Triumphant style vibe.
Yeah, like
obviously without the masks and stuff, but it was very kind of like black and death metal. Like the music has got like a real Morbid Angel flavor to it, more of like a black and take, which is super cool. I mean, like Morbid Angel were one of the best death metal bands, so can't go wrong there.
I remember we were like walking towards the stage, and I could hear the music, and I was like, "What the fuck is that? That sounds immense." It sounded like screaming wind. There's like a thing in Wheel of Time where if you go into it's been a while since I read it, but you go into this like there's a thing called the Ways, which used to be like perfect. It used to be like it was made but with like good magic basically, and it was like white and pristine, and it was like it's implied that there were like fields of green and blue skies, but then it gets corrupted by evil, and it's like basically the space between the threads of the weave that is existence. It's been woven by the Wheel of Time. And like if you go into the Ways, if you fall off the path, you just end up falling through nothingness. You end up falling through stuff that isn't existence. So it's like the worst death you could possibly imagine. And like you can't see anything anymore because it's been corrupted, so it's completely dark. And if you stay there long enough, you hear this sound, which is a wind that travels through the Ways. And like if it comes through you, if it blows through you, you go absolutely mad. You go insane because it sounds like thousands and thousands and thousands of people screaming. And I think they're people who've like fallen out of the weave of the Wheel of Time. So it's all these lost souls that are absolutely like mad and have turned malevolent. And like I think when people start hearing the wind, they hear like the sound of millions of people screaming like kill them, you're gonna fucking die when it's hit. All this shit. It's really brutal, and it sounded like that. Yeah. When we walked past
a bit like that fucking train that comes past every 20
honestly,
minutes.
The train reminds me of it. Yeah. And it's got a really fucking cool name, and I can't remember what it is. I think it begins with an M, but it's really cool, and it's really brutal, and it's like one of those things that you read in a book that like stays with you because it's so like existentially terrifying.
Yeah.
And like the vocals sounded like that. The way it was like distorted and reverbing, and the cold sound of the music. It was really interesting.
Yeah. That's cool. Have you ever listened to the Blind Guardian song Wheel of Time?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, and that's great, isn't it? Yeah, it's just. I remember, like, I know, like, well, maybe not now because it's been a while since I've listened to it, but every time I watch Blind Guardian live, like, I knew all the lyrics and I'd be like screaming them. I was like, I don't even know what the fuck he's on about. I don't know what any of this shit means, but I love it.
It's so good. I love Blind Guardian. They have great taste in literature. Yeah, it was really cool. So that was Hierophant. Then we kept walking because we wanted to go and have a look at Spirit Adrift.
I don't think you got a falafel. You got that, what's it called? It was like kind of like a schnitzel, but something else.
Oh, I got Spätzle.
That was it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was good morning festival food when you're really tired.
Yeah, I got an entire chicken.
You did get a whole chicken and you demolished that.
Yeah, I did.
It smelled really good. Yeah, we saw a bit of Spirit Adrift and we ate in the shade, the very small area of shade of a very small tree. We just sat in this like small circle of
hot.
Darkness.
Spirit Adrift sounded great, to be fair. I think they sounded amazing. We caught maybe 20 minutes of their set.
Yeah.
And then and I thought this sounded great. And then went to watch pretty much all of Zulu's set.
Oh, they were so good.
And they were very good.
I loved them. They were like, I knew they were going to be good. I'd not listened to them properly before. And like, I looked at them and I listened to a little bit of their songs. I was like, I know I'm going to love this band. And they did not disappoint me. They were so good.
They were great. I think it's, I was saying this a little bit before, I'm not meant as like a massive form of criticism, but like, I think because they're so young, I think it's going to be a while before they kind of reach that ability to fully feel something of that size.
Yeah.
But I still like the fact that Hellfest has taken a punt on them and showcased them as an emerging artist. But I think, it's one of those things, it's a tricky thing always when you get hardcore bands or bands from that area of the music scene in an open stage. It can always be tricky to translate that because it's a very DIY, it's a very claustrophobic, intense type of like crowd reaction that those bands normally elicit. So some of that can be lost if it's on the bigger stage. But saying that, I think they did do a fantastic job and I think it was a great set.
I think they had the best pit I saw all weekend.
Ooh, best pit. Probably Machine Gun Kelly based on that Twitter post. No, best pit I witnessed.
I think I saw the best pit at the Warzone. I think it was them.
I think End had quite a good pit.
Oh, End had a really good pit. Yeah, I think they had the best pit. My bad.
Yeah, that's what happens when you got Brendan insulting you.
Yeah.
40 minutes. But, I think I also had a good pit.
Is that a pit?
That counts as pit action. Yeah, I'd say that you could count that.
Oh, okay, then and that is the best pit then. The spoiler alert, we'll talk about that soon.
Yeah. Modern Marv had the whole Viking Rowan ting going on, which was huge.
Ting. Yeah.
Ting. Take the boy out of South London, not the South London out of the boy.
It's true.
Other than that, I can't think. Well, Benediction actually had a really good pit.
Benediction had a great pit.
Yeah. Oh, no, the best. Well, we'll get to it. No, I forgot to cover them. Sorry, in episode 1, I fucking watched Aborted as well.
Oh shit! Yeah, you just asked about Aborted.
I watched Aborted right after Fried.
Oh.
Because the reason I forgot was I watched about 75% of the set and had to rush back for the interview.
Yeah, it's true.
But Aborted were fucking amazing. I forgot to star them in my Hellfest app, which is an amazing app, by the way.
Really good app.
Great for your time management when you're darting between stages. And they were fucking fantastic. I'm really a big fan of that band. I've seen them live multiple times, and the sound was absolutely incredible. They do have some new members. They got a new guitarist. I can't remember the names, but like Ken, the drummer, is an amazing drummer, and Sven is just like a bit of a stalwart of like the death metal scene, and like he's heavily involved in the art direction of the band, and they've got some great like merch and artwork. I think that really lends to like their sound and style. And they had the most intense pit because I actually had to fight my way out of a wall of death.
No.
Yeah. It was during I think it was Hecatomb was the song they were playing, and pretty sure it was, but not sure. Could be wrong. Who knows? I was tired. I was lagging as fuck, and so they opened it up, and I was just like, okay. Because normally when like a wall of death opens up, like I was just presuming I was with the crowd of people that were just moving back to
but you were in it.
Stay away from it. And then I realized, no, I'm about like 3 rows deep in front of the people that are taking part in this pit.
Uh-oh.
So like immediately when I started, I immediately had to run forward. It was like that fucking challenging gladiators where you've got like the people with the fucking things. I had to like try and get past the people to get out of the pit because... yeah, I'm not getting involved as that. As much as I enjoy the music, my pit days are over. But yeah, sorry, that was to dart back to day 1, and we'll move back to day 2 now. But yeah, just want to quickly mention.
That is a very valid pit point. Yeah, I remember the when we saw Al Nafrak and they opened that wall of death and there was one guy in the middle and then another guy just punched him in the face.
Yes, that was sick.
So random. I was like, what was going on there? I need to know. Oh. Yeah. Anyway, after Zulu, we interviewed a bunch of people. We interviewed Miraf, which was really interesting.
Yes.
I loved talking to them. First Tunisian band to get an international record deal ever.
Yeah.
And in North Africa as well, in general, apparently, which is fantastic. And yeah, Miraf are like, that was one of the most emotional sets I saw, actually.
Yeah, I mean, well, I suppose for you, because you were talking about how you saw them quite a few years before and how much they've developed as a band and as a live act as well.
Yeah, it was really interesting because I saw them before I was even considered, even before I'd ever been a band. I saw them play Hellfest, and it was the first time I'd heard them or seen them, and I was like, holy shit, this band is doing something I've always wanted to hear, which is Middle Eastern and like North African, Arabic as well, music in the context of heavy metal. And it sounds really good. It's not like, Nile are great, but they're not really doing that, and everyone purports them to be doing that, but they're not really. Like, it's not actually that authentic. Whereas like Malakesh definitely do that, and Miraf are like a really good example of that too, with like clean vocals, which you don't really find. And they do it so well, and they have a song called Dance, which is about a Syrian dancer who was threatened with death by ISIS if he continued to dance, and he was like, no, fuck you, I'm going to do it. And that kind of like, when the music's that good and there's also that political aspect, I love it. Which is not for everybody. Some people hate that. I like it. Because, it matches up to my own lived experience. Not the same as the dancer, obviously. I've not been threatened by ISIS, but it's more relatable than a lot of other stuff I listen to. So yeah, watching them play was like so cool to see that they were on like a huge label now, that they're really scaling up. They're trying to like move up with the amount of like the way they write music, basically, is what they told us.
Yeah, because it's Ear Music they're with now, I believe, isn't it? It's the same as like
Deep Purple.
Def Leppard was another one, right?
Yeah.
And was it there's a female singer songwriter that was on there as well? Was it Cyndi Lauper?
Probably.
I want to say I might made that up.
Who knows?
Probably.
Someone else do the research. Fake news channel. Here we go.
I mean, we'll get in touch with Jamie from the Joe Rogan podcast. See if he's
he can pull stuff up for us. Yeah.
But no, Miraf were absolutely amazing. You touched a bit about his voice, and I think vocally he is incredibly impressive, because we were talking a bit after we'd watched them about his ability to change between like your Rob Halford, like classic trad vocal style stylings between a more traditionally. I mean, what would you kind of?
Yeah, so basically, his singing technique is like the traditional technique is more Arabic. Yeah. Mine is not the same, but the Arabic one is like more nasal, and it's actually really difficult to sing like that. And he's got incredible vocal control, where he'll switch from like here to the higher register, which is the more rock and roll falsetto, like the Halford stuff, and then he's doing loads of stuff around that as well, and he's effortlessly switching between the two while doing magic tricks.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that there was an incredible stage show going on at the same time.
It was mad. Like, basically at the beginning of the set, like this beautiful woman comes out and does some like dancing, like cool snake arms, belly dancing, and she's got like fire and this fucking sick outfit. She changed her outfit like 10 times as well into like all cool things. And then this like roadie like pushes this huge like contraption on stage, which is like these 4 big pillars, and it's got like wheels and shit. It's clearly really heavy, and you'll find out why. He just pushes it on stage, and then she like dances onto it, and there's a bang, and like a piece of cloth comes down, and then suddenly she's the singer.
Proper David Copperfield shit.
Yeah, it was like that really surprised me that they did that. And then they had like these masked guys in like harem pants with like flaming swords doing fire tricks.
Yeah.
And they would just come out and do some like cool sword shit, dance around. And then this woman was like dancing, and she had like these beautiful fans that were drifting around her, like feathers, and and then they would like interact with each other, and then they wouldn't. I think there was a bit of like Alice Cooper inspiration in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end he gets on the thing and he levitates.
Yeah.
He just starts levitating at the end of the set, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
it was cool. I think we were saying like, we enjoyed the stage show, but I think it's obvious that this was their first time trying to incorporate all these elements. So I reckon what they'll probably do, I could see them doing, is refining those elements and figure out what worked and making it a more kind of coherent. Because I think you had like the table levitation thing, which I think which we were watching.
We were really like surprised by that. We were like, and we weren't. It wasn't necessarily clear to us like what part, how it related to things. Maybe we just don't know the music well enough. But I thought it was really interesting. It was interesting to watch a band doing stuff like that, knowing it's not finished yet. If that makes sense.
And you got to appreciate the fucking effort. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean,
they had the most effort put into the stage show.
Yeah, and they were fantastic. Like the musicianship was absolutely amazing. Like everything sounded crystal clear.
They had a curved keyboard as well. Did you notice that?
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, this keyboard, he just had like a folded around like, and he was just like doing this crazy shit with it. Yeah, everyone was doing something interesting, and then there was the spontaneous, like everyone just sat down.
Yeah.
Except you, because your knees hurt.
I will say, in my defense, I did have the backpack with the film equipment.
Yeah, it's really heavy
at the time, so I was just like,
it's not easy. Like when you've been standing.
I did crouch a little bit, and I wasn't standing up in defiance.
You were in solidarity with everybody else. It was really funny. But the entire packed tent.
It's fucking everyone did it. Like when Corey Taylor does it, not everyone does it. I wasn't expecting everybody to do it.
I didn't even know what was happening. I was like, "What? Everyone's on the floor. Oh, I guess I'll join them." And it was actually like amazing. Yeah, it was a really beautiful moment. Everyone just shared it with each other, and it was kind of mad. Yeah,
it was like that anxiety dream for me when you when you're presenting in front of school and you're just in your pants.
Yeah. Yeah, you're only naked when there are other people around, and when they leave, your clothes come back. I've had that dream.
Yeah, weird, isn't it?
Yeah, super weird. I wonder what it means. Anyway, so that was Saturday. At this point, we were really fucking tired.
Well,
it was
absolutely
very
exhausted.
hot.
It was a heavy press day for us as well.
Yeah,
we had a lot going on. We did also catch. Well, did we all catch? We watched a bit of Gorod as well.
Oh yeah, they were really good.
Who were amazing. Like I've been a fan of Gorod for a long time. And I thought they sounded, for what I saw of their set, which was maybe 2 or 3 songs, I thought they sounded absolutely phenomenal. Like I was, wish I could have saw the whole set, but we had other business to attend to, which was also super fun. So it is what it is. Such is the nature of going to such an amazing Stax festival. You're not going to be able to see everybody you want to see. It's just the way it is.
It's true.
I wanted to watch Meshuggah at 1 a.m. in the morning, but I probably would have died.
I think we all would have died because we would have crashed on the way home. Yeah, I was the same. Like I was really looking forward to Meshuggah, but it's just one of those things you kind of have to pace yourself. Like we had a huge Sunday. We watched so many bands. Like it was worth. If we had done that, we probably wouldn't have had such a good day the next day.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think it balanced it out quite nicely. So we went home. We caught a little bit of sleep. And then we came back. We were going to try and watch Strigoi on the Sunday morning at 11:40, but we just didn't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I think it's fair to say we had a bit of delays because it was fucking absolutely torrential rain.
It was the heaviest rain I've seen here.
Yeah, we had all intentions of catching them. We would have caught them, but we seemed to have joined the queue for the shuttle bus at the time where it was at its busiest because it was the biggest of the three. I think we anticipated it being a smaller queue. And that actually put on like an extra hour onto. Yeah,
it can take. Hellfest used to not have that system before. You would have to just trawl around Clisson in your car and hope for the best. Yeah. And sometimes it would actually take longer. Then you have to walk to the festival. But now what they've done is they've basically closed the centre of Clisson, and you can't park there at all, or your car will get clamped and towed. Oh. And now you have to go to one car park that's like quite far from the festival. Yeah. In the past, it was actually a little bit dangerous, like because there was these roads. There's a roundabout with the guitar. Yeah. There were just cars parked all over.
No.
They're like all down every single road, like the whole town.
Yeah, you had to get some order in place there.
Yeah, right? it was just ruining it for the other residents as well, I think. And like literally the cars would be parked up to like the junction of the motorway at times, and you'd like see people walking from like there just to the festival site. So the car park it's a pain in the ass, but it is better than the alternative. You guys, I don't think have seen that because we came together. They'd already implemented the car park. But yeah, the shuttles are relatively frequent, but it can take a minute. There's a lot of people coming in and out. But yeah, so we missed Strigoi, but we saw a little bit of She Passed Away, which was really fun. I had a little boogie.
Yeah, before that, we did watch End as well.
We did. They were fucking amazing.
So they were great.
So heavy.
So I pulled them up just so I could do the band some justice here. So the members that I remembered off the top of my head, we got Brendan Murphy from Counterparts. So they're a super group of sorts. You got Brendan from Counterparts, Will Putney of Fit for an Autopsy, Gregory Thomas, Jay Pepito, who I don't know their bands off the top of my head, but Billy Reimer, who I do know is also from the Dillinger Escape Plan. So it is kind of like I don't know. I have to look it up.
Was Greg Pucciate? He was in Dillinger, right?
Yeah, Greg. He's the singer in Dillinger.
Yeah, that's why I'm not saying the bassist was. I'm saying like because Greg played the festival. That's why I'm bringing it up. It's relevant.
But they were great.
Someone just screamed in the distance.
Yeah, and there's a hell of a lot of frogs chirping as well. It'd be interesting to see if that comes up on the.
Yeah,
Shem could probably edit it out, right?
I think it should stay in. It's kind of vibey.
Yeah, no, I'm loving it.
Frog episode.
But it's they were fantastic. They had a good pit, good crowd reaction. Brendan's got this shtick, which I think does rub some people up the wrong way. Like he's got this kind of
the abuse.
Yeah, he shits on the crowd, and it's kind of like this bit. He does it with counterparts a lot as well, and I feel like it's like he didn't give a fuck, but I think it's hit or miss how well it goes down with the crowd sometimes. But like nevertheless, he is, I think, grateful of. Yeah, he does say it's like he did say even during the set, like, actually you've been a great crowd. Yeah. Which is cute. But there was like a moment where like he was like, if you don't know the lyrics to this, kiss my ass nerd. Yeah. And then like he was like gonna insult the crowd again and he couldn't think of anything to say. And there was like a moment where he paused, you could see he was like grasping desperately at something, and then he just repeated, kiss my ass nerd. Like it was really funny because you could tell he was trying to like come up with new material on the spot. Bless his soul. It was a really good set though. It was a great set. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then she passed away were really fun. I had a good little dance.
Yeah, that was cool. I had no knowledge of this band. I knew absolutely zero about them. I think we were either just finishing up something in the VIP area, and then I just heard the sound in the distance. I was like, "The fuck is this kind of like?"
It's not very Hellfesty.
Synth-wavy kind of like, but it was cool.
I think it was a really good palate cleanser. Yeah, and it's nice to have like one boogie a day when you're at a festival. I think it's nice to like. Just have a little wiggle at times. Yeah. And then we had a ton of interviews for a while. And then I saw Mutoid Band with Shem, and I think you saw some. Yeah, I think
there was a few other transitional things we caught. So I think me and Shem and I know you weren't paying too much attention, but we caught a bit of Hatebreed.
Yeah, I think I was vibing.
So managed to catch the end of Perseverance and I Will Be Heard. So to the bigger tracks, and they sounded fucking immense.
I've never really listened to them.
They're great.
They sounded great though. They sounded really good. Yeah.
And Jamie Jaster has pulled a John Gallagher from Dying Fetus and grown his hair long. It's just on the list of musicians who've never had long hair, as far as I can remember, just suddenly grown their hair. And it's been like, what?
You had hair all along?
Yeah. Well, for instance, Jamie's always had hair, so that one wasn't as thin. But like, I think everyone presumed John from Dying Fetus was bald for the longest time. He's never fucking had hair in the 20 odd years I've been a fan of that band.
I wonder what made him decide to grow it.
Probably the lockdown, maybe.
Maybe he just stopped shaving it.
But, and you just look like a completely different person. So, so we watched a bit of Hatebreed. We caught some food, and we did hear some of Paleface's set.
Oh, they were great.
But they're like that band is like 90% breakdowns.
Yeah, it was so fucking.
And their snare hits and their bass drops.
Oh, they had that low snare. Yeah, I love that low dirty snare. Yeah. Slayer. We're so tired. We can't speak. They sounded really cool. I remember we were in like a little forest. When I first went to Hellfest, that forest was really small. It was like new trees.
That's
and
crazy.
Now they're big old adult trees. Yeah. I feel really old. Yeah.
That's mad.
It's so crazy. Mutoid Man were really fun. Everyone in the band was really enjoying themselves. I love it when I watch a band that's just having so much fun. And it's got the drummer of Converge, whose name you'll tell me, Ben Collar. There you go. Thank you for doing the research for me. He was fantastic, effortless drummer, and like I think Shem was telling me that this is like in Converge he has to be really serious, whereas in this band he can kind of let loose a little bit, be a bit sillier, which he was definitely doing. He was having so much fun on stage.
I think just in Converge that everything's. I mean, I'm sure Mutoid Man he's got to be very technically proficient as well, but Converge is so fucking intense. Yeah, like it's just the man's got to be just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like the singer was great. He was like really going for it, and then we've got Jeff Matz.
Is that Stephen Brodsky?
Stephen Brodsky, yes, Stephen Brodsky from Caven. I know this information. And then you have Jeff Matz on the bass. Jeff Matz is also in High on Fire, and amazing musician, really, really amazing like sus player as well. Anyway, his bass was so loud I had to move. I had to go further away because it was causing me physical pain. It sounded really good, but it was like the loudest. Like I think I was just really close to the really big speakers, but yeah, it was. I could feel my eardrums like moving too much, and it was hurting. So yeah, I had to like move like all the way across the arena to like be able to physically watch them the rest of the set, which was quite funny. It was way too powerful. Yeah. And then did we do anything between them and Benediction? I don't remember. We went straight to Benediction, didn't we?
So yeah, yes, you did, because while you were watching Mutoid Man, I was watching the Monomorph.
Yeah.
Who were great. I mean, I like a Monomorph. They had a great stage show. Obviously, the last few times I've seen them, I believe they were playing like a headline set, so a bit of a longer time and more of a varied set list. So I think they were touring their last album, which I haven't actually listened to, so I wasn't familiar with the tracks. But what they had, which was really cool, they had a lot of inflatable kind of like stage things going on. So you had
really?
2 Vikings that was super cool. Then they came down.
Well, they're like the ones that like you get in the car parks in America.
Yes, no, it totally was.
Actually,
yeah, but when they were fully inflated, they looked like a solid structure. It was really cool.
Oh, I thought they were doing that thing where they just like move around loads.
Yeah,
and, like...
there wasn't like the flappy arm people.
The flappy arm people.
But so they were deflated and replaced by the fucking big snake in Norse mythology,
Jorgmandur.
That's it. Thank you. And then it was a cool bit where they were playing what's the song fucking called? Something of the Thunder God.
Hammer of the Thunder God.
Twilight of the Thunder God.
Oh,
so,
I thought it was a Nietzsche.
No, that is
reference.
a Bathory song, isn't it? What is the fucking song called? But anyway, it's about Thor.
Unsurprisingly.
What's his name? I've forgotten everything's name now. All information has left my mind. Can't remember the frontman. Johan Hegg.
The
frontman of a Monomorph, had his Mjolnir, and he was attacking the big inflatable snake at the end, and that was kind of cool. And yeah, and they were great. Like they're good fun. They're a great main stage band because they've got to that stage now where they've got a really nice rhythmic and palatable like blend and brand of melodic death metal that just really works and is very effective.
I think it's very easy access for people. Who,
it is.
Yeah, they're a really good choice. I think there really needs to be bands like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I think Gojira the same way. Like, you know, and by no means are they like a mainstream band in terms of like the music's not like necessarily soft, but it's but they've also reached that level where they have cast more of a wider net towards the demographic. I feel like there's more people. You show someone a music appreciation, someone that's into music, Magma, or like even L'Enfant Sauvage, or Fortitude, the newest album, and I feel like they would react so much more positively to that than if you had to just throw them in with like from Mars to Sirius, or you know, like Terra Incognita. And I think, you know, it's just something not even playing, so I don't know why I'm waxing lyrical so much about Gojira.
They usually play Hellfest.
Yeah, but it's like, imagine watching Gojira at Hellfest must be
mad. Yeah.
Pretty spectacular seeing them on home turf.
Yeah, I remember when they were first time I saw them play there. They were in one of the tents, and like you just couldn't get in.
Yeah,
there was a huge crowd. It was like, you know, when we were trying to watch
Nostromo.
It was like that, but it was both of the tents.
Yeah. Wow.
Instead of just one of the tents, it was a lot of people. Yeah, definitely a main stager. But it must have been really cool to see them up close in there. Yeah, after that we went to see Benediction, which was really fun.
Benediction were great. Love Dave Ingram, legendary death metal vocalist.
Such a fun guy.
They've still got the two founding guitarists. Can't remember their names. Apologies, but like it was absolutely a great show. They played a lot from Transcending the Rubicon, which is probably
it was it the 30th anniversary?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're talking about that, and they had Nick Sampson as well on stage from Damon.
Yes,
who we also share a drummer with, so we're connected to Benediction.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it was a great bassist as well. He handled the bass duties really well.
Really good.
They performed really well. Like I think they were quite chuffed with like the response. And like the crowd that turned out for them. And I think it's interesting. That's one thing I noticed about Hellfest that I thought was quite something that I didn't really factor in. It was just like, I suppose for some people, like UK bands and American bands would be seen as much more of a hot commodity and have more of a rarity appeal than they would in, like, say, the UK. It's like a band like I mean, like, not say like a Benediction playing the UK. You know, they've been a band for such a long time. You know, it'd be hard pressed to find someone who's a fan of extreme music who hasn't seen Benediction live.
That's true.
Same with Napalm Death and, you know, a lot of the other stalwarts of the scene. So to see them go to someone like France and get like a massive reaction and people like being super excited because it might have been the first time they've ever even seen them as a band, I thought that was just like really quite cool and quite wholesome, actually.
Yeah, it was a really good set and like people really enjoying it. I really enjoyed seeing that there were a lot of like the clearly like warriors, the old hardened warriors, where there were people with walking sticks that with long hair and like ancient battle jackets. Like I really loved seeing those people because like I saw Benediction a few years ago recently, but then before that I saw them play with Bolt Thrower.
Yeah.
And Gore Rotted at the Ulu. I think it was 2011, and that was an epic show.
It's a good stage, good venue.
Really good venue. I saw them at Bloodstock too. I lie. Yeah. But no, that was seeing them play with Bolt Thrower. I'm really happy I went to that show. Yeah. That's
a great bill. And you must have seen them with Dave Hunt a couple times in from Anal Nathrak.
Yeah, it was before Ingram. Well, between. Yeah. Complicated. They have had a lot of members and they've traded a lot of Bolt Thrower, which is something that's really cool. I think they're like,
it's funny when you're doing that because like Barney Greenway was on the first Benediction album, then he joined Napalm Death, then Dave Ingram came in, and then went to Bolt Thrower. And it's just like it's like a revolving door of members between like that kind of whole Birmingham kind of like Midland scene.
It's really funny. So. Yeah, I love that. I really like that. I really feel like they are such an important part of the history of death metal in the UK and in general.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like the Grand Leveler, Grind Bastards, so many good albums, and the Scriptures, the newest album, is really good. Like they're not one of those bands that kind of rest on their laurel and just putting out just
hard-working folk,
just basic shit. Like, you know, that the new music is still good, and like, you know, much in the same vein as a band like Carcass, for example, who, you know, got a long hiatus and come back for some absolute club classics.
I think it was so funny. Halfway through the set, he made a Basil Brush joke.
Yes, there you go. Yeah.
And 3 people laughed.
Yeah,
it was like
we were
us.
2 of them.
Yeah, it was us and like 2 people behind us. Yeah. And no one got what he was talking. There was like a boom microphone in front of the cameras, and it was like leaning down. He was like, "Oh, who killed Basil Brush?" And like, obviously, no French person knows who Basil Brush is.
No,
it was great. I really enjoyed that moment though, because I don't think he even cared. He was just like having fun, you know.
No. And I love when people just don't give a shit and they're just doing it just to pop themselves.
I wish you saw Antti Bowman's stage. Well, you saw him in London, but the banter he had at Hellfest last year was hilarious.
Oh, I could imagine it. That guy is just an absolute character. Sweetheart.
Absolute, treasure. He must be protected.
You mentioned Backpatch. Me and Shem saw someone with a devoutment molesting the decapitated Backpatch, which is a bold move for everyone that doesn't know. The album is a bold guy who has been decapitated and is there just naked with his cock hanging out. And it's that artwork is a choice of Backpatch. Bold statement.
I also really love the guy who during Benediction was just having such a great dance.
Oh, Lonsdale.
We work with someone who's like identical to this person but not French. But yeah, he was just. I think he was an MDMA. Honestly, but he was going mad. It's like he was at Butlins. He was like really going.
He was raving it up, wasn't he?
Raving. I was so inspired by his moves.
Yeah. People were losing their shit to Benediction. Like, the pit was big.
Like rightly so. Yeah. Really good pit band. And then we saw the opposite of Benediction. We went to VIP, and then we you can actually watch the main stage through a screen in the bar. And we had a little rest before the last run of bands, and we saw Tenacious D.
Yeah. I've never seen Pick of Destiny. I know Tribute. I know Wonder Boy. I know that they've got a song called Fuck Her Gently. I didn't know how it went.
I can't remember how it goes.
So a lot of it was over my fucking head.
A lot of it is just like penis and cum jokes. Yeah. It's just cock and ball jokes, which I think a lot of people like in in the cultural mind of heavy metal. I think a lot of people like those kinds of jokes.
But I will say one thing: the crowds were going fucking nuts for it.
They loved it.
So Hellfest obviously knew what the fuck they were doing, booking them. And I can't imagine they would have been cheap. So I think they definitely knew what they were doing, booking them and getting them on their touring cycle. Because I know that they played a gig in London a few days before. And they will say, bless him, Jack Black looked fucking exhausted.
They looked so tired.
That man is not used to the touring life, I can tell.
I wonder what it's like to be like an A-list, well, I don't know if he's a list celebrity.
Would you consider Jack Black an A-list? Maybe
he was in Jumanji with The Rock. Does that make him A-list? We don't sell plushes of him, so I guess not. But
of
Jack Black.
Oh, we do?
Oh, we do?
Yeah, one of them, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
No, not
It doesn't look like him.
No. None of them.
No, The Rock definitely not. Anyway, yeah, like, that was just so funny. They were clearly tired. I wonder what it's like to be like, when you work on a film and you're like a main character, they just dote on you. So to go from like being taken care of, someone fanning you, to going on tour and like playing a metal festival where no one else is gonna like respect you being a diva, that must have been so funny. Yeah, I wonder what they were like backstage.
I did want to say quickly, just because I know neither of them are ever going to watch a podcast. I did see that funny clip of it was like Johnny Depp like talking to Gene Simmons backstage. And Gene Simmons just had the most uninterested look on his face. Like, he was looking at Johnny Depp like he was just like, who's this fucking fanboy?
Who's this guy?
Yeah, just like, I've got better shit to be doing.
Who's this Jack Sparrow impersonator?
Yeah, Jack Sparrow ass looking motherfucker.
Yeah. I love that interview with Gene Simmons where like the guy tries to pronounce his real name and he's just like, it's okay, you've got a Gentile mouth. Like, he's like, you can't pronounce my name.
You ever see that Loudwire interview? Then of the Graham guy, the guy who was, I think he's heavily involved in Loudwire. He was just like, it's just a good interview because like Gene Simmons is like up to his usual like fucking
antics.
Yeah, and like I think Graham actually handles them pretty well.
Oh.
I think there's a bit, he's wearing like a Behemoth shirt, and he goes like, and then he ends up having an argument over like I think he like starts singing like a Holly song, and he says like, "Oh, do you know that song?" And Graham's just like, "No, I only listen to the good stuff." And then points to like his Behemoth shirt, and then just watch the fucking interview if you want to. It's interesting.
Oh well, yeah, that sounds good. And after Tenacious D, we went and what did we do after Tenacious D? We saw. Lemmy was correct, yeah. Anyway, then we saw Slipknot.
Oh.
Then we saw Slipknot to close out the festival. We didn't see anybody else between those two bands. But we saw Slipknot, which was fun because I haven't seen Slipknot since they played Sonisphere in about 2007, I think 2009, and that was with a more original lineup. All the band is gone now.
Yeah, all band is gone.
All band is gone. Poor Clown, he had to leave because he literally flew to Hellfest and then had to leave because of a family emergency.
Yeah, so I hope his wife was ill, I think. So
yeah.
Disclosed in the media anyway, so
I really hope that everything's all right. Like, no one deserves to go through shit like that.
No.
I think, Slipknot got a lot of shit when we were growing up, when I was growing up, from my point of view. People at school be like, oh, you're a Slipknot fan. So I never really, like, properly put too much time into them because it was, like, seen as I don't know. It was... But normal people thought that's what metalheads listened to, and it kind of annoyed me. Yeah,
I think I'm in the same boat. Because I think the masks didn't help that perception. Because I think, in fairness to Slipknot, they've always incorporated the masks in a way that it is a real part of the aesthetic and the kind of lore and stuff behind the band. And I think, it's obviously done in a way that isn't gimmicky to them. It's really well incorporated into their music and what they do from a visually artistic and aesthetic perspective.
Yeah.
But saying that, just me personally, I think I just naturally don't listen to stuff that people expected me to listen to.
I was very contrarian with
same.
stuff like that. Like, if something was popular, I wouldn't go near it. And I think as I've grown older, I've kind of like grown out of that mindset because I think you end up missing stuff that's actually good. And like when I did see Slipknot, they were amazing. Like that first time in Sonisphere, like they had the drums that were moving around on stage, and I was like really blown away by them. I obviously like Duality and was it Psychosocial? Is that what it's called?
It's from All Hope Is Gone, I think, that track,
Yeah, that's right. And like Heretic Anthem, really fun song.
Yeah.
And it was just really nice to see them again. And I've actually always loved stuff to do with masks. Like Phantom of the Opera was one of my favorite things ever, and it still is. There's something kind of sexy about like not seeing someone's face.
Yeah, it's strange because I actually like the whole mask thing as well because I love the Berserker, for example.
Imperial Triumphant.
Imperial Triumphant do a great job of it. And not so much mask, more face paint, but I love Mudvayne. I think LD50 was a really, really good album. And I don't know if I'd call it underrated, but within the spectrum of how big a lot of the new metal bands are, I felt like Mudvayne were ones that were actually creating music that was much better than a lot of the other bands that were getting a lot more press attention. I was also the same. I was really quite fond of there being a key visual element in the band.
Yeah.
As long as it's done in a way that kind of helps elevate the music and it's
part
coherent.
of the story of the music, which I like, and I love that they do new ones and stuff. And yeah, like I was really impressed by how they looked.
Yeah, I think because they had new masks. I mean, I've never seen Slipknot live. They weren't my gateway bands. I think.
No, me neither.
With my particular age, I think I kind of was more the Korn guy because Korn were around just that little bit longer.
I was System of a Down, and that was it. I didn't listen to anything else.
Yeah, System of a Down were great. I think that's the thing about System is I don't think it doesn't matter how contrarian you want to be, you just can't deny
they're so fucking good.
They're just fucking like Toxicity was just like so mind blowing.
It's pure fire.
And I love the first album. I don't. People rarely talk about that first System album.
The one with the hand.
Yes, the one with the hand. Yeah, and then I know still this album is kind of like Toxicity Part 2. So it was like like the tracks that they didn't release. But
the hand is from the original Dune film, the Lynch one.
No fucking way.
Yeah, when he becomes the Kwisatz Haderach, that's what he sees.
Is that where it's from? Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I had no idea.
That's him like manipulating time and space.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
It's really fucking sick.
That's a cool fact.
It took me ages to actually realise that was the case.
Yeah,
but I lost my mind.
That's super cool.
Yeah,
especially for you because being such a big Dune fan.
Yeah,
yeah. Funny enough, Hypnotized, Mesmerized I only listened to kind of like semi-recently.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
So just by that time, I was like well into death metal. I was like, I need to listen to System anymore.
I think those were the albums that I got into. Was Hypnotized, Mesmerized.
Yeah,
yeah. I think that was the year that I actually got into metal was through those albums.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mad. But yeah, anyway, Slipknot. So yeah, it was really cool to kind of close out with something I started seeing. I think they were better when I saw them at Sonisphere, but it was like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, in fairness to the band, like I'm not gonna say they're old or anything, but like they have been doing this shit for a long time.
Exactly.
And there has to be some wear and tear. Cause, I mean, I remember hearing about the Slipknot shows of old and how legendarily kind of like
they were
violent and
cool,
hyper they were, and the band just like fighting each other on stage and just doing loads of crazy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember like Sid. I always remember reading about Sid like doing the craziest stage dives and stuff into the crowd. But yeah, no, I thought they put on a great show. I think I was definitely flagging at that point.
Yeah, we all were really tired at this point.
It had been a really intense and a really fun weekend, and I always just like absolutely struggle on the last hurrah. But they were great. I think Corey sounded good. I think the sound for what was sounded pretty good. I think we were in a strange spot because we were like kind of more in front of the second main stage, so we might be getting like a bit of wind displacement. Or something.
I think the sound where we were standing, it was you couldn't move through the crowd.
Yeah, because it was so fucking busy. So it was just but that was great. I think it was great, and I'm glad to say I've at least seen them live. And I'm just not familiar with the material. That's my problem.
Yeah, that's
I know
the thing.
a few
songs as well. Yeah, but it's really they were energetic, and it was. I think to close out a festival, like it doesn't have to be like something like a super low key. Yeah. Underground death metal band. It is kind of fun to close it out of like a pop metal band, if that makes sense. Yeah.
No, for sure. Like they're a perfect choice for a close. And I mean, because for despite the fact that that I'm not exactly a glowing Slipknot fan, there's no denying that they deserve every bit of hype they got for the stage show and the performances they put on. And that's even with them being kind of kneecapped a bit with the members that were missing. So, but yeah, I think it was a great way to close out the festival.
It was perfect. And then we just hung out in VIP for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think we left at like 2 a.m., got into the car park at 3, got home at 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mad. Really fun.
Yeah. But a great experience overall.
Yeah, and like a 5-minute fireworks show at the end as well, like every year.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was epic.
It was really cool. There's actually a video of a recap from last year where they put a drone through the fireworks.
Oh, that's sick.
And it's incredible because the drone's going like upside down and diagonal. It's like some of the best drone work I've ever seen. Yeah, really good festival. Go to Hellfest if you can actually get in and find a ticket. It's very difficult, but it is truly one of the best festivals on the world.
It's head and shoulders above every other festival. It really is.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on other festivals because not every festival has the budget to do what Hellfest do.
They had government funding for a while. It's when a country puts money into culture, this is what you get. Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I just think you're just doing yourself a disservice as like a heavy music fan to not go to this festival. I just lament the fact that I waited 35 years. Well, no, I've been going for 35 years, but I waited until I was 35 to fucking attend a Hellfest.
It's not easy. Like, if you to the logistics of getting here, if you've not done it before, it's not a simple thing.
That's true.
Yeah, like I having done it for so long, I know how to get here. But if you're starting out, you don't. But there are people who do packages. Yeah, we had help of Shem, of course. He did lots of heavy lifting and lots of driving.
Yeah, shout out to,
he's our Sam Ganji.
Well, I'll just say, from me personally, I think massive thanks to both of you. Nina, just for organising everything, did an absolutely fantastic job. Your knowledge of everything surrounding the festival event just made the experience so much better for me anyway.
Hell yeah.
And Shem just has been an absolute diamond in the rough, just helping
real.
with just making everything from a technical and operational perspective as well. So
yeah,
just
he's
would
our
not have
facilitator.
been nowhere near the same experience without you two guys.
Aww. So. Same. You know, all of us, we all bring so much to the group, so we wouldn't be able to do it without each other. I think it wouldn't be this fun for sure.
No.
Yeah. Hell yeah, 10 out of 10 Hellfest. Thank you for watching and listening. Feel free to like and subscribe, and check out all the amazing interviews we did as well if you made it this far.
Yeah, a lot of good content coming up.
Hell yeah. And we have some from last year too, so check it out. Au revoir.
Until next time. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.